Think about it. When was the last time you felt truly seen by another human being, like in real life? Not just liked or followed or reacted to, but actually seen. Because something strange is happening in the world right now. We are much more technologically connected than any other generation in history, and yet so many of us feel more alone than ever. We live in a time where artificial intelligence can write conversations, it can generate faces and videos that don't exist, and create voices that sound indistinguishably human. And because of that, a lot of people are starting to quietly ask themselves, is anything real anymore? But here's the paradox. The more artificial the world becomes, the more valuable real humanity comes. And today I want to talk about something that may become one of the most important skills of our time: real human connection, even in a world of AI. Let's face it, life isn't always the party we thought it would be. So how do we find the joy when we need it? And what if it's up to us to create it? That's where the Party On podcast comes in. Our goal? To shine the proverbial disco light on all the things that can make our lives easier, healthier, and a heck of a lot more fun. So we can enjoy the party we were all invited to, live our best lives, and dance like no one's watching. Welcome back to the Party On podcast, guys. Brought to you by none other than The Festive Farm Co. Please go check it out at thefestivefarmco.com. It is my baby, and you supporting us there supports us here, which supports the spread of love and joy and real talk and all of the things in life that truly matter. So thank you for supporting us and for checking it out at thefestivefarmco.com. Today, we are talking about what's real in the current world and in the climate of AI. And we're going to go a little deeper than that, actually, which I'm really excited about because I feel like this topic is multi-layered. So this has obviously been brewing for months, if not years, but this past week something happened on Instagram that truly threw me and got me thinking. So if you follow me on Instagram at The Festive Farmhouse, that's my personal account, I did a simple post about one of our dogs named Reese's, and it got labeled as AI, which honestly to me was hilarious at the time because I'll be honest, I get it. He seems like AI. He's like the quirkiest, weirdest little dog, and we love him for it, but we call him our little man, and he walks like one, literally, like he walks on his hind legs. So of course, after posting video footage of it, it flagged it as AI, and here was the weird part. Suddenly, I felt like I had to defend myself. Like there was this shame with it being labeled AI, and it was frustrating for me because authenticity is very important to me and trust with my community is very important to me. And all of a sudden, Instagram platform was labeling my stuff as AI, and it just simply wasn't true. And it's just, not only do we not know what is AI, now the platforms are flailing and calling things AI that aren't. And I just thought, we're in the freaking Wild West here. Like we really, truly are. Like just par for the course. The platforms and government and everybody else are trying to keep up with technology. And so the rules and regulations normally come after the technology is already in place. And it's just, the whole thing is just fascinating to me. And if you really think about that for a minute, if the platforms who are like, they're paid to like, and to decipher, they have a whole department probably now on this trying to decipher what's AI and what isn't, and they got my video wrong, it just kind of proves the point of it is that hard to tell what is real and what isn't. And a perfect example of this is animal videos, because I'm an animal lover, you guys, and I will be honest and confess that like way more than half of my feed is animal videos. And I remember seeing an article come out a few months ago saying that it is official. AI has perfected animal videos so well that it is undecipherable to the human eye now whether an animal video is real or AI. We can still detect human AI videos to an extent, and I would argue that the majority of people cannot. But regardless, some people can. I can still tell at this point. But I'm sure it is going to get to a point where none of us can. And then what do we do? And that's what I want to talk about today. And I want to even start out talking about Reese Witherspoon. She came under fire recently for posting about how she is taking it upon herself to learn all about AI, and she wants to help her community learn what she's learning. And I saw this post and I was like, good for you, girl, because I do believe that we need to stay educated on what's happening, not only for ourselves, our businesses, our world, but also for our children. But look, when I tell you that her people on social media were fired up about this post she did about AI, it was insane. Like, people were like, how could you encourage AI? AI is the devil. You were just, perpetuating this, and it's going to take away everyone's jobs. And the amount of fear, the amount of which I 100% get, but I really do agree with Reese here, because the only way for us to be able to discern what is real moving forward is to recognize and know how AI works. Because knowledge is power, right? And if we want to know what's real moving forward, then we need to know how to recognize what isn't and how it's being created. And once you do that, which I've already started to dip my toes in the water, you become able to see for yourself, and you become able to understand the signs of what is real and what isn't. And I also want to take a moment. I said this just now, but I want to say it again. I am not against AI. I think it can help us in so many ways. I also think it has a massive danger potential. But I think it can help in our businesses big time, as long as we are intentional with how we use it, and as long as we don't use it as a replacement for being personal or relating with our customers. There's tiny things that it can be used for, but it does not need to be a replacement for human connection. But again, as long as we're using it correctly and not counting on it as the gospel truth, or, believing everything that we look up on AI, and as long as we're leading with our own real hearts and brains, that's the key. And the key word in everything I've said thus far is real. And we talked a little bit about this last week, because while technology is making the world more artificial, it's also making something else happen that I think is really beautiful. It's revealing just how powerful authenticity actually is. And here's the thing. Authenticity was always that powerful, but it's just showing us how much we value it, because when everything can be generated or curated or optimized, the most valuable thing a person can offer becomes something that cannot be replicated by a machine. So that's presence, attention, honesty, warmth, just flat out being human. In the future, the people who create the most meaningful lives will not be the ones who are mastering technology. They'll be the ones who master connection. And with the way the world is moving, this is something that we have to prioritize. We have to prioritize connection, and we have to prioritize teaching connection to our kids. So how do we actually create real connection in a world like this that feels so disconnected? And I really got to journaling about this and thinking about this, and I think it's actually simpler than we think. But it requires intention. And this is what I've truly found, is that it takes some reconditioning from where we already were, because we've already been trained to a certain point by social media. We've been sort of trained that interaction is connection, which it isn't. But I'm going to say that again. We feel online like interaction is connection. Like a like on a screen is connection. And while it may be some form of connection, it doesn't actually register to our brains. And this is what we talked about last week. The same way a physical connection like in person actually does. Our brains almost get confused with what is real and what isn't, right? So now that we're on the doorstep of AI, we really don't know. We just don't know. So what are the steps to creating real connection in this AI world? And this is what I mean when I think it's simpler than we think. I think it starts with intention. And first, you have to put your attention where your body is. When you're with someone, actually be with them. Not have scrolling, not checking notifications, not checking emails, just being present. And y'all, this is really hard. If this isn't hard for you, kudos. I'm super impressed because we've just trained our brains. I saw something really recently about people promoting something called no dual screening, especially for kids, but really for everyone. And what they mean by dual screening is having two screens going at once. So if you are watching TV, watch the TV, don't scroll, because it's training our brains to need instant stimulation all the time. And no shame, I get it. When our brains are trained for constant stimulation and we're in a one-on-one conversation and that's all that's happening, our brains are actually like calling us for more dopamine. They're calling us to add more stimuli. And I've thought about this before because, how many of us can sit in a doctor's office waiting room now and not get on our phone and read magazines instead? Seriously, it's so hard. I have tried because I'm of the generation that remembers when that wasn't an option. When I was in high school, you sat there quietly in the waiting room. And when I was in college, you sat there quietly on the waiting room and looked at magazines or stared at the wall or watched the clock. And now it is seriously so hard to not pick up your phone. And quick aside here, sometimes I just like to think about, I don't know why it's doctor offices for me, but I really do try to remind myself whenever I go into a doctor's office and I'm in that waiting room, or any waiting room for that matter, that there was a time when we didn't expect to be entertained in that room. And we were so much more relaxed when we just had to wait without our brains needing to do something during that waiting. So practicing being present, it can remind you what is real and like what is real in the physical moment. A second way to foster connection is to embrace vulnerability. And this is a hard one for a lot of people, and I get it. And I also think that our understanding of vulnerability over the last 15 years has changed. Because most conversations stay on the surface, but real connection lives one layer deeper or several layers deeper. And something I've noticed these past few months that I want to point out, and it's one of the very reasons I wanted to bring this podcast back, is how lonely everyone seems to be. And I even started observing how people in my community alone interact on social media versus how they interact in real life. So I will see a group of people in my community interact a certain way online, say maybe on Facebook. And then that same group of people will get together at a football game, and they don't talk to each other. And it has just been fascinating to me. And I started talking to friends in other areas to see if it was similar for them, and they all kind of echoed the same thing. So we have to talk to have real connection, and we have to get vulnerable. And I think we have to evaluate what the definition of vulnerable is for us, because what we feel is vulnerable now, I think, because we've desensitized ourselves, is just flat out basic connection, like surface conversations. And if we want an even deeper connection, we have to be willing to match that with our level of vulnerability. And I hope I'm making sense, you guys. I hope this is tracking. It's hard to be like the real definition of vulnerable when we're used to talking only online and not in public. It's almost like we have created, our screens have become another layer of armor for us, and we hide behind it. So we have to be willing to be vulnerable and even challenge our definition of what vulnerability is for us and what we're comfortable with if we want real connection and we want to feel less lonely. And I saved this one for last because it's the most convicting. If we want real, and if we want to know what is real, and we are all craving real in a world where we don't know what real is, we have to be real ourselves. Meaning, and this is taking it a step past vulnerability, we have to know who we really are. And I honestly believe that this is what we're avoiding with all of it. Like, I think with the armor of the screen and the scrolling and the not willing to sit with ourselves, we are just sort of bypassing the beauty of discovering who we really are without all of it. Because getting to know your true self, like your real self, without influence from social media or trends, or maybe even like the past stories of your life and what you've told yourself about who you are. Who you really are now at this moment in time that's a kind of vulnerability that a lot of people will never reach because they'll keep reaching for their phone to scroll instead, because distraction is always going to be so much easier. But how can we try to know what is real in this world if we don't know what is real within ourselves first? That's the question that's been convicting me as of late. And I know that sounds kind of trippy and even weird, but it truly is the foundation of everything moving forward. It's the foundation, knowing what's real and who we are and what is real to us and who we really are is the foundation to real connection. And then the foundation to knowing what is true for us and what we identify as real or not real, even within something as videos online. Because knowing who you are and not who others say you are, or who you are in your business or on the stage or social media, you have to know that to know real connection. So to circle back to the very beginning, today I asked, when was the last time you felt really seen by another human being? Really seen. And here's the thing. You can't ever fully be seen if you can't fully see yourself. And let me let you in on a little secret, friends, because knowing yourself, once you know yourself, that is the beginning of experiencing real joy. Because you know what joy is to you, and you feel it on an entirely different level once it's real, once it's aligned to you. I've said it before, and I will say it again, the more artificial this world becomes, the more valuable real humanity becomes. Mark my words, your realness all of our realness is going to become our superpower. So you, my friends, are the hottest commodity out there. Your real, true, authentic selves. So get to know you, learn you, and be you. And embrace real. Embrace vulnerability. Embrace actual physical presence. And in my humble opinion, when we know what's real within us, we will have a much greater sense of what is real around us. And that doesn't just stand for AI, guys. It's our relationships. It's all of it. So my challenge for you this week, there's a few of them. You've got homework. I want you to sit with yourself without distraction. I want you to, if you have the opportunity to be in a waiting room or somewhere where you would normally pick up your phone and scroll, I want you to not. I also want you to practice completely being present when you are in conversation with someone, especially if it's your kids, you guys. Especially if it's your kids. But really, truly, if you are I want you to commit to where you are. And if you are in a conversation with someone, you're locked in. And this will help retrain your brain to what is here, what is present, what is real. And then thirdly, I notoriously lose count, so I think this is thirdly. Thirdly, I want you to dip your toes in the water of AI. I want you to get brave and do some investigation and try to learn, because all of these things together will help shape you, will help shape your perspective, will help you learn what is real to you, will help you learn how to identify what is real around you, and your life will only improve from there. I hope you guys have a great week. Thanks for hanging in with a little bit of a different topic this week. It just came up and was on my heart, and I think it's just so important to have these conversations in real time as they're happening, as our world is changing, so that we can stick together and work through it and be less afraid of the future and of ourselves and of our potential. I love you guys. Don't forget to check out thefestivefarmco.com. Also, do not forget, it is Mother's Day coming up, you guys. Do not forget to tell your mama you love her and you're grateful for her. We have so many sweet gift sets that you can send, and you write a note, we attach it, we wrap it up all pretty, we send it to her, and she feels so special. I just love what I do. Head to thefestivefarmco.com, and I will see you guys next week. Party on!